Hey, this is Chris Mosier coming at you once again from the Fan Film Podcast, and we are on episode 60. That's November 21st, 2009, and something a little different this time out. John Schneider had a panel at this year's Big Apple Comic Convention, October 16th through the 18th, and this podcast is solely that panel.
Also Jonathan Kent from Smallville. Please give a warm welcome to John Schneider.
How's everybody? Hello, Chris. Nice to see you. Chris, the first person I saw today. Yep, it was good. Am I just supposed to ramble, or does anyone have any questions?
Do you guys want to start with questions? Or?
I mean, because there's nothing I don't know. I can answer any question you have.
That's true.
Yes, sir.
John, when you started doing Smallville, you mentioned in an interview that you had been a fan of the original Superman series, George Reeves. Did you know that Denver Pyle played a villain in one of those episodes?
Did I know? No, I didn't know Denver Pyle played a villain. Which one was it?
It's called Beware the Wrecker.
The Resurrection?
No, Beware the Wrecker.
Beware the Wrecker. No, I didn't know that. Was he good? Denver Pyle was great at everything he did. Denver Pyle was Uncle Jesse. You know that. Denver Pyle was Mr. Darling. Andy Griffith. Denver Pyle was Doris Day's father in the Doris Day Show. And Denver Pyle killed Bonnie and Clyde. What do you think of that? And I think Denver Pyle and Jimmy Best were both in Left-Handed Gun with Paul Newman. So there.
You really do know everything.
I know everything. Except I didn't know Denver Pyle was on the show.
Now you do.
Now I know. It's good. He was a great guy. Denver was always there to help kind of steer, especially me. I was the youngest one in the cast, so he was there to help me along, make sure I didn't make too many mistakes, or make sure I knew when I was in life, not on the show. He would never give any acting tips, but he'd say, "You sure about that girl, John?" What did he say? Did she make you laugh? If I had to think about it, he'd say, "Get rid of her." And if I said yeah, he'd say, "Marry her." Yes.
Do you know about Denver's Elvis connection?
Do I know about Denver's Elvis connection? No.
The year before Elvis made his first movie, Lovely Tender, Denver Pyle played the same character in a movie in another Western called Rage the Dog.
Really? He didn't play the guitar, wasn't it? They Love Me Tender to do a musical.
Real life character, one of the Reno brothers.
It feels so strange being on the mic. That's great. Is it any good? It was better than Love Me Tender, right?
It's standard Randolph Scott Western.
Randolph Scott. Gotta love Randolph Scott. Cool. I still can't get over the fact that I'm older than Elvis ever got to be. It's one of those things in your life. Come on, you've had that feeling. Anybody who's older, well, he was 44, right? Elvis got when he was 40 what? 42?
Yeah.
See? I don't know everything.
Does anyone else have any questions?
Yes, you're in the back.
Is your character moving back to Smallville before the series ends?
I would love for my character to come back to Smallville. And contrary to somehow popular belief, I had nothing to do with my demise. I had nothing to do with my demise. That's very Mark Twain. Rumors of my death have been greatly exaggerated. I have not heard from the creative forces of Smallville since they forced me to take a dirt nap. I'm hoping, but it's only a hope, that on the last episode, whenever that may be, that if in fact it ends the way we have always thought it would end, which is Clark actually putting on the suit, that I'll be the one that hands it to him and makes it okay. But that's just a hope and a dream of mine. It's not based on anything I know. It's just something I'd really like to have happen.
Did you find out about your character's death by reading the script, or did they come and tell you about it beforehand?
They called me and told me that I was going to do a big thing for the 100th episode, and it was my death. We got a great show for you. So yeah, they called me and told me that, and then I did, I think 2 episodes after that, actually Brainiac, or he was me, something. Yeah, Marsters. That's a weird dude. Strange cat, that guy. And then one where, I think it was 3.
Yeah, no, there was one that you did Afterlife.
I remember coming into the barn with a big white light behind me, like Touched by an Angel. Clark, sit down, I'm an angel. So I did those 3, and then that was it. It's hard to take. It's hard to. People say, "Oh, this really affected us." It affected me too, because I really enjoyed that show. I enjoyed the job, but that was a very special relationship. I think that I had with Tom Welling on that show. It was really great, and I think it shows. Because when he started Smallville, he'd done a couple of episodes of the Gilmore Girls, and that was it. So he really didn't know anything, and he's a very open to asking for advice or help kind of a young guy, which I think is where that relationship came from. So it was good. Thank you very much. Coffee. I guess I call it. Oh, coffee. I'm confused now. I'm from New York, and I never call it coffee. Okay, someone else a question? I'm going to put this down for a second. Yes.
Were you an extra in Smokey and the Bandit?
Yes.
Where?
I was. Just a moment. I think this is a good story. I think I should write a book about this. For whatever reason, everybody, you've heard about this story, I think, of me telling people I was 24 and from a farm in Georgia to get the audition for Dukes. And I was actually 18 from Mount Kisco, New York. Just up there. Sometimes it takes a certain level of really, really young people, no bullshit, to get you and nerve to get you a job or to get you that next step. I was 16 years old in 1976, and I had heard that Burt Reynolds was in town. I was living in Atlanta at the time. My mother worked for IBM. And I heard that Burt Reynolds was at these fairgrounds shooting a movie with cars, and it was fun, and, come down and be part of the crowd. And I skipped school, and a buddy of mine and I went down, and we knew where they were shooting. Parked the car in the dirt, climbed over the fence, found somebody with a radio, who was the person that would have thrown us out. Tapped them on the shoulder, went to them. And I said, "Look, man, I'm so sorry, traffic on 75 was a bear. I'm supposed to be here at 9, it's 20 after 9, I'm late, where's makeup?" See those trailers over there? Yeah, the one on the left, that's makeup. You better hurry. So I went in and I sat in the makeup trailer, and they made me up. But nobody wanted to admit that they had no idea who I was or why I was there, because somebody had obviously dropped the ball. It never occurred to them that I was lying. So there wasn't anything written for me to be in. So they gave me lunch and they apologized. And they put my buddy and I were at the very end. I'm in it a lot, only because the frame freezes when they roll the end credits. Sally Field yells, "No hard feelings, Junior," and Cadillac goes up the hill. Police car starts to follow it, and a tire falls off the police car. Rolls into the crowd, and there's this big, goofy-looking guy with a black hat. Like that. So I'm like this for all of the end of the credits of Smokey and the Bandit. But to this day, nobody knows I wasn't supposed to be there. And Hal Needham wound up being a friend of mine later on in life, and I told him that, and he said, "We were wondering who the Nobody wanted to admit they didn't know what you were doing." Ben Jones is in that movie, and Sonny Schroyer was in that movie. So Cooter and Enos are both in that movie, but they actually, unlike me, had a job.
How about your friend?
My friend is in there too, but he's standing next to me, and he is a security. He's a night watchman at the drive-in deli on Frontage Road. I think he used up all of his balls that day. And several times I've done that. When I went for Dukes, I told him I was 24. When I went to read for Smallville, I was already an icon, or whatever the hell they call it, and I said no the first told the guys from Smallville in their own office to sit down. And look, sit down, I want to talk to you. So I came in as Jonathan Kent and got it right away. Maybe they're bringing Tom Wopat. Hey, hold on. Another question? Anybody? Somebody? Yes.
What are your thoughts on the Hazzard movie?
The thoughts on the Dukes of Hazzard movie? It was awful. And it was awful because it was irreverent. Especially the thing that really, I understand it was fun, it was all that. Obviously they didn't really take to heart what the Dukes of Hazzard was. The fact that they had Willie Nelson playing Uncle Jesse as a drunken old moonshiner who plays grab ass with Wonder Woman really bothered me. You know, because that, for me, it's been a long time since we did Dukes, and the one thing that I think really was the stability, the Jonathan Kent, if you will, of Dukes of Hazzard was Uncle Jesse. And when Uncle Jesse was upset with us, we knew we'd done something wrong. We knew he wasn't unfair. When Uncle Jesse was proud of us, we knew it. So for them to have gotten that character so horrifically wrong really bothered me. I think that was inexcusable. And maybe there could have been another one if he wasn't kind of drunk and smoking pot and throwing Molotov cocktails out of the back of Boss Hogg's Cadillac. I mean, give me a break. Come on. What were they thinking? Jessica Simpson did her job. Johnny and Sean did their job. But that was inexcusable. And Bert, bless his heart, really wanted to be a good Boss Hogg. Because he actually was with us. He was on the set. He was a Dukes of Hazzard friend and fan. And he wound up punching the director, I think. Because he wanted to do something. He said, no, that's not what it's about. I'm not going to do that. Well, no, we need you to know that don't you touch me. One more time. And I think he did. He hauled off and smacked the director. And it's too bad. Because when you see movies like Star Trek, incredible. This last Star Trek was wonderful. And paid great homage to all the cast and the source material, the story, the legend, everything was great. And I think that movie actually makes people who've never even heard of Star Trek want to go out and buy the DVD. The Dukes of Hazzard movie did not do that. Wow, that was a long answer. Yes, now you're just scratching your head. Could have just bought a car at Barrett Jackson.
No, I was going to say the reason I'm trying to watch the original Dukes of Hazzard was Tom Wopat from Smallville, and you know
Oh, that's good. Well, see, on Smallville, they actually, when Tom came on there, we were friends and we talked about history. We didn't mention Dukes, but there was enough going on. I think he said something about Chickasaw County, and it was great. Yeah, little jump, little hop with the car. That was really good. That was smart. The movie was not smart. Can I still do it with you? He did the hood slide though. Tom is the one that. But people think it was me. I drove the car. Really good. He did not. He did the hood slide. But I got in the window with the steering wheel in the way.
How often were you actually behind the wheel on the show?
We did a lot of the stunts, a lot of the sliding around and stuff when time would permit, because we were really good at it. But we didn't do the jumps. The jumps were insane. I mean, there's still people have not broken the records that our stunt team set on Dukes. It's just amazing. There was no CGI. There was no, other than the horrific year where they used miniature cars. They landed like kids playing in the backyard. It was the stupidest thing I'd ever seen. But we didn't jump the car.
Did you ever wish you could be in the car for the jumps?
Until I saw one jump, I did. When you see the jump go a little wrong, you don't want to be in that car. You thank God and everything that's holy for stunt people. When you watch your car kind of bounce down the street, it's pretty scary. But everybody was fine. The funny thing I think about the miniatures is that they did that because they wanted to save money. They wanted to save stunt adjustments. They wanted to put people out of work and save the studio money. So they built a car, a miniature General Lee, was about that big. It was big. It wasn't anything like, I'm signing out of it. It was big. And they were perfect detail, like the Franklin Mint kind of car. But there's no weight to them. There's no mass, so they don't. People always say, when the car hit the ground, it was cool because we saw the front buckle down. We know that it was really wrecked, and then you're in a nice shiny car. Well, this car did like that. But the geniuses there realized, we needed a smaller car. We need a smaller road. So they built a small road. They said, we got a small road. We need smaller trees. And it looks really bare, so we need a smaller. Long story short is that the miniatures wound up costing so much more than putting a guy in a car and jumping over a house. And I thought that was divine justice. I like that. I thought it was great. Anybody? Yes.
What's your favorite Smallville episode?
My favorite Smallville episode? Rogue. It's called Rogue. And the reason why, it was one of the first times, remember the situation, I was almost violently defending Clark to this guy, Nixon, he was bad, he was a bad guy. He was trying to figure stuff out. And I remember that something had happened where the police were coming, we were in the barn, and Clark was here, and the police were over there, and it was my friend, the policeman was our friend at that point. And he made a move to come get me, and Clark was going to grab him. And I remember coming up and grabbing Clark and pulling him aside, and I don't think I had to say anything. It was just, no, don't do that. And it's probably the only time where you'll ever see where the boy that is going to be Superman actually was physically overtaken by somebody, and actually, what do you call it with a dog? Not you know how when the dogs get into a submissive position, boom, because it was just like that. It was something that we didn't work it out. It was just something that happened. Because Clark wasn't like this, which any what was he supposed to be? 17-year-old, 16-year-old? He was what, 24? He did the opposite. He was older, But to me, that was a defining moment in the Clark, Jonathan history. So that was my favorite. And I think that's why most people know that Jonathan wasn't just. When the show first came out, people said you're too strict. And as it went on, they realized it was because Jonathan had loved his son. And I think that was the defining moment there. Anyone else? Yes.
Was there like a jump the shark moment for Dukes of Hazzard?
A jump the shark moment.
Coin bins.
Yeah, but that was a whole other mess. The coin mess was a whole other mess. I think it'd have to be the Alien show. And poor Sorrel Book, Boss Hogg directed that show. And it wasn't bad, but it's just, when you do the show about the aliens landing in the back 40, actually it was all Smallville wasn't it? The aliens landing. But when you do that show, there are a couple shows like that, but that one, there's always the Amnesia show. There's always the Hiccup show. There's always somebody comes in, where the characters in the show play themselves from some other time. There's always that. But after E.T., there always became the Alien show, so I think that was it. The Coin Man's episodes really just don't even count.
Right.
Yeah, it's too bad. It wasn't their fault either. It wasn't their fault. They were just doing their job. They were the predecessors to Sean and Johnny. Now, yes.
Southerners' reactions to Dukes of Hazzard. Like, did they see it for the comedy that it was, or were people offended?
Were Southerners offended by the portrayal of Southern people in Dukes of Hazzard? No, because they didn't understand it. No, it's what did he say? No, I think maybe at first was a wonderful movie called Ode to Billy Joe.
Is that any louder?
What is that? Oh, there was a movie Max Baer directed. Max Baer was Jethro Bodine, Max Baer Jr., called Ode to Billy Joe. And if you go back and watch it, it's Shakespearean in that there's tragedy and it's really interesting. So you hear things in the first episodes of Dukes of Hazzard, like me saying, hey, I choose this one. It's not because I don't know any better, it's because I believe it is better. And I'm not going to let anybody pollute the well where I drink. Wow, other than thee and thou, that's pretty damn good. You hear about Boss Hogg and how Roscoe's pension was, Roscoe P. Coltrane was as straight as an arrow lawman until his pension got defeated in the last bond election. That's where Dukes of Hazzard started. So the very first couple of episodes were not, there were some cute things in there about something about cousins and you don't kiss your cousin. Well, I never stopped anybody in this family before. There was that sort of thing. But Dukes was not really silly when it started. And we were a 9 o'clock show when we started. In fact, my God.
I think Zod is back there.
In fact, let's all yell. And they had, there was a thing that I don't think, there's no evidence of it anymore, but there was a thing called standards and practices when there were three networks. So there were things that you could do at 9 o'clock that you couldn't do at 8 o'clock. Things at 10 you couldn't do at 9. Yeah, now it's kind of like a free-for-all. But when Dukes of Hazzard became an 8 o'clock show after our first year, because they realized what a tremendous draw it was to the younger demographic, as well as the older demographic. They wanted to have it be safer for kids. That's when it got, I won't say silly, but that's when it got a lot more lighthearted. That's where freeze came from, because you'll never see Roscoe, because one of the rules was you can't point a gun at somebody that's in the same shop at 8 o'clock. So that's why he was always like this. Or if we were far away, he could point, because we're not in the same shop. And we always had to say, looks like they're okay. They'd go boom, boom, roll the car 15 times and land in the water. And we'd go, looks like they're okay.
Like a Roadrunner car.
Yeah, like a Roadrunner. Yeah. So they didn't have they were proud of the Dukes of Hazzard. And a lot of people, I'm from here, so a lot of people from New York they just love it. There are rural route people everywhere. And I think they're better people, and they really do. People who work with their hands, people who go, have to walk down the driveway to their mailbox, or who go to a post office box to get their mail. It's a different kind of people, and those are the Dukes of Hazzard and Smallville kind of people. I think standing here waving a flag, I really do think that that's what has made this country so great for so long. And sadly, those are the people that are getting the shaft now. Well, everybody's kind of getting the shaft, but it starts with them, and that's not right. Yes. Do I have a favorite Dukes what? A favorite Dukes moment episode? Yeah. There's a show called The Ghost of General Lee. And the show was really good, but one moment in particular was when Roscoe and Enos discover the car is in the water, and Enos runs in to try to save us and comes up with our shirt and pants. Skinny dipping, I guess. Just blowing a little skinny dipping. It's a beautiful day. Let's take off our clothes and jump in that creek. But Roscoe gets on the CB and calls in and wants a record out there because the Duke boys have gone into the pond, and he's crying when he does it. And he's trying not to, and it's wonderful. Jimmy Best is a wonderful actor. But that moment for me, again, like the defining moment for Jonathan Kent and Clark, that was where the world realized that he never really meant us any harm. He enjoyed the chase, which spoke volumes about Roscoe P. Coltrane and volumes about Bo and Luke's value. Shakespeare. It was very well described.
With a totally different
I'm telling you, there's a reason why it's 31 years later. kids are still loving the Dukes of Hazzard. There's so much going on there that we didn't even realize. But there will be kids that are Bo, Luke, Daisy, Boss Hog on Halloween this year, 2009. And a lot of them will have bought their costumes at Target, because you can get one, or at Walmart, or at Sam's Club. I mean, it's just amazing to me that show is still selling merchandise. So there has to be something to it. You can't have a flute that lasts for 31 years.
Parents are letting their kids watch it.
Well, because it's some of their fondest memories. I'm finding a lot of people's fondest memories of their childhood and of their grandparents who are no longer around was watching Dukes of Hazzard on Friday night. So they're ushering their kids into it. And it's great. Kids wearing their parents' Dukes of Hazzard t-shirts from 1981. And they're wearing them now. I mean, that's cool that they fit. And it's cool that they want to, but they saved it. All those years. I don't have any. Actually, I have one shirt. I just gave it to my son. I used to work out at a place called Vince's Gym. My son he works out. He's on Secret Life, the American Teenager, by the way. He's Joe, the guy that sells the phony licenses and homework and stuff in the hallway. But I found my Vince's Gym t-shirt in the attic, and I gave it to him, and it was great, because he knows about Vince Gironda, he knows about old Hollywood and Eastwood and Schwarzenegger and all these people who used to work out there. So that meant something. So when I see a little guy that's wearing his dad's t-shirt from 1981, it means a lot to me. It's cool. Yes?
John, I know that in Illinois, there's an actual city named Metropolis. Do you know if there's a Smallville in any state?
I have been to Metropolis.
They do a festival there.
They do a festival there, yeah. They do a Superman festival there. I don't know of any Smallville. There should be, though. Is there a Smallville, Chris?
No.
No, there's no Smallville. Hey, there's a need. There's a need. There is a Hazzard, Kentucky, but it's one Z. And people tell me there's a Hazzard, Georgia, but I think they made it up. Because I would have known that. Yes? Dukes of Hazzard lunchbox. Those are pretty valuable now, especially if they have the thermos in them still. Yeah.
Do you have any of the old collectibles, any of the Neo dolls or anything like that?
I do. I have a fully posable action figure. I've got the bobblehead doll of me. My mother used to go and collect a bunch of stuff, and LCA, the licensing corporation that did all that Duke stuff, Hasbro, they would give us stuff, and I've kept quite a bit of it, but it's old and very fragile now. I wish I had the big wheel. Kids don't have big wheels anymore, right? Nobody has a big wheel. That was a great toy. Plastic 3-wheel bicycle that was 3 inches off the ground. You couldn't possibly tip it over. It was good. It was called a General Lee or whatever sticker they put on it, right? That was fun. I signed the little HO cars quite a bit, the little electric, running around the track, not Johnny Lightning. Who is it? AFX? Or those two little copper things on the bottom, and you take a pencil eraser to make it go faster. Yeah, I love those. I used to do that all the time. You do that? You ever do the really stupid thing kids do? You ever put your tongue in the track? Of course. Who didn't? Anybody else? Yes.
The favorite guest star on the Dukes, the musical guest?
My favorite guest star on the Dukes?
Musical act.
Musical? I had a wonderful time and then wound up being friends for the rest of her life with Donnie West. Loved Donnie West. She was a classy woman that many people, females in country music are they try to copy, they don't even realize it. They don't realize what a force Donnie West was. So she was a blast. The one that we worked with the most was Waylon. So Waylon was a delight, and we did that episode where somebody was trying to take his museum, and they had a decoy museum and all that. Was a lot of fun. So, see, piracy, Shakespeare. So those of you, but we had so many. I mean, Loretta Lynn was the first country star we had on it. In an episode called Find Loretta Lynn, she was a doll. Tammy Wynette was on the show, but she just came and sang a song. Roy Orbison was on the show. Johnny Paycheck was on the show. Oak Ridge Boys, the first time they publicly sang Elvira, was on the Dukes. Great times. What great times. And Boss Hog Celebrity Speed Trap. Never knew who was going to be in there. And the Boar's Nest looked, I mean, it was a set inside a soundstage, but it looked like a bar. So we'd be in there drinking beer, eating popcorn, and whoever was playing that night came in, and we just had a blast. I mean, it was everything you would want it to be. Dukes was lots of fun. Didn't appreciate it at the time. I was 24. What did I know? It seemed like a long day. But when we were in that Boar's Nest, or I was behind the wheel of the car, just kind of out there, and knew that somebody would give me a new one if I broke it. Life was good.
What's it like for you working with Tom now, either on Smallville? I know you guys record together once in a while.
I'd love to work more with Tom. Tom and I have a chemistry. They cast chemistry back in the old days. And there's something about Tom and I that obviously now we do have a history. We've got 31 years of friendship and working together. But that was there from hello. Strangest thing. So I'd love to do something with Tom. There are no musicals really where there's a dual male lead, or we look for that. I mean, we've been on Broadway at the same time. I was doing Grand Hotel, and he was doing Guys and Dolls. I had the notion, and I think this would be a blast. He and I are the only people I know that could actually do the Odd Couple and swap roles every other performance. And I think that would be a great thing, because who wouldn't want to see both? Who wouldn't want to see me as Felix and Oscar? Who wouldn't want to see Tom as Felix and Oscar? I think that would be fun. I think we could pull it off. That's the only thing I can think of that we could do together on stage.
Not a musical.
No, it's not a musical, but...
How about Jekyll and Hyde? One can be Jekyll, one can be Hyde.
One can be Jekyll and one can be Hyde, and the musical would still be fatally flawed.
They should do Dukes of Hazzard.
Sorry, Dukes of Hazzard, the musical.
It'd be funny.
It would be funny.
It would be good.
And Shakespeare.
That's true. Would it be any good, though? I don't know. Come on, Bob. Dynamite hair, Rose, dynamite hair.
Have you guys
Why not? I mean, hey, I don't know. What?
have you ever talked about doing a legitimate Dukes reunion project?
I was trying to get Duke from Warner Brothers to listen to a pitch of mine, and they're not even interested after what happened with the movie, I don't think. And you can't go out and do it on your own, because they own the source material. Right? I did a movie called Collier and Company that's very Dukes of Hazzard-like, that I didn't have the money to promote it. People who see it love it, but that's all we can do is go out and try to do something on our own. Unless Warner Brothers one day says, I want to hear your idea, because we think that maybe there's something to this. I hope they do. Because I think I know what the Dukes of Hazzard movie needs to be. So,
well, they tried the relaunch. It seems like that didn't work. They might as well try the reunion. Pick up from where you guys live.
Well, they put that other one on. Anybody see I only heard about it. I actually did not see this, but the prequel on ABC Family? Bad. That's what I hear. People say you think the movie was bad. You should see that. No Shakespeare. No, it blows my mind. I don't know why they do that. And they spend a lot of money on that. It's a lot of people. It's not somebody. Independent movies are great because somebody has a passion and they go out and solicit the help of their friends and maybe a couple of bucks here and there, and they make a movie that they would gladly die making, because they gotta do it. And if it works, it's great. If it doesn't work, it's still great because it's you follow your passion, follow your dream. But studio movies, there's a lot of people spending somebody else's money who's not even in the room, making these terrible
on the Confederate flag, you know, you think that's changed?
Had to go there.
Yeah.
My feeling about I don't know, some people call it the Confederate flag, some people call it the stars and bars. My only defense for it is that until that whole thing started a couple of years ago, nobody ever took offense to it, black, white, yellow. Nobody ever had a problem with it. I think, back to Denver Pyle and Uncle Jesse, make this a circular story here. If the flag on the top of the General Lee was a symbol of hate, then Uncle Jesse would have kicked our ass for having it on there. So if Uncle Jesse believed that the Confederate flag, the stars and bars, the battle flag of the state of Tennessee, or whatever that flag is to whomever it is, if he thought that that was a symbol of slavery, then he was a bigot, and he was prejudiced, and he was not the man that I think Uncle Jesse was. So that's really my only defense for it. It's tragic that has been turned into an issue because a couple of people have used it. It'd be like if somebody took that and turned it into some derogatory thing rather than the peace sign. So some splinter group of radical morons like the KKK turns some symbol of something else into a symbol of hatred. It's tragic. It's terrible.
But did you think there were enough was there any minority representation on the Dukes?
Were there any minorities represented on the Dukes? Not a whole lot. But some. But it wasn't an intentional thing. I mean, our town had everybody in it. Every one of our greatest stunt guys was I think Tommy Cloud was in his 90s. He used to work in the old westerns. Wonderful, delightful black man. There was nobody intended. We're in Burbank, California. You know, the people who are working the background, or the people who come to do the shows, audition for the shows, or they show up to be on the shows they want. So
it's not the writers intentionally.
No, not at all. The last episode of Dukes of Hazzard I directed it. I wrote it. We had two brothers come in to settle a score with Boss Hogg, and Roscoe makes Boss Hogg disappear at the opening night at the Boar's Nest, is what it was called. But it was show at the Boar's Nest. And I just only now remembered that these were two black gentlemen. And one of them, this was so great. I wear a 16.5 37. I was in a store trying to find a shirt. And I look up, and there's this guy walking by, and I can see under his pecs as he's walking. I said, "Where do you find shirts?" "I can't find a 16.5 37. What are you doing?" And his name was Kevin Peter Hall, and he wound up being a Dukes fan, and he was a comedian, 7'2", didn't play basketball, and wound up after Dukes being Harry from Harry and the Hendersons, and has since passed away. Very sad. But I said, I'm writing an episode right now, and I'm directing it. And you got to come in. You got to come in for it. I want you to be in the show. And he wound up coming in and auditioning, and he was it. It was great. It was really great. But there was no intentional leaving out of anybody in the Dukes of Hazzard. Wouldn't be possible. Somebody? Yeah, you back there. Yes.
What was your favorite role as an actor ever?
My favorite role as an actor ever? Gosh, that's tough. I enjoyed playing Will Rogers in a touring company of Will Rogers Follies probably more than I've enjoyed anything, because I got to ramble on. But as just an actor on television or in front of a camera, I did a really fun role in a show that got canceled right as I did my third episode. called Dirty Sexy Money. And I played a gay congressman, or a congressman who was showing himself to be gay to this other guy, Billy Baldwin, who actually lives in Bedford too, so that I could get him to, the story, you never know what the stories are about. So I could get him to sleep with my wife, so I could get pictures of him sleeping with my wife, so I'd have something on Donald Sutherland, the rat bastard. And it was great. And the show got canceled, but I enjoyed that because there's one little scene, the first thing we did in there, we're having lunch, and he's apologizing to me for something, and I reached over and grabbed his hand. Now, Jonathan Kent would reach over and grab your hand, and Bo would reach over and probably grab your hand, but this guy reached over and kind of gently grabbed his hand. And the reaction that Billy Baldwin gave was the best moment of my acting life. It was so great. And I enjoyed that more than just about anything. It's totally unexpected. Nobody would expect me to do that. And there I was. And I don't know if anybody saw that or not, but you can get it on the box set, DVDs. Dirty Sexy Money. Nip Tuck was fun too. Yes?
Have you ever met Eddie Jones, the actor who played Jonathan Kent on Lois and Clark?
Have I ever met Eddie?
Eddie Jones, he played Jonathan Kent on Lois and Clark.
No, I have not. I'd like to. I'd like to meet him because we're a very small club. There's only two of us left, right? Yeah, I'd like to meet him. Did he play on it the whole time? Was Jonathan Kent there very much in Lois and Clark?
Yeah, frequently, yeah.
Cool. No, I'd like to meet him. I like that. Did he die of a heart attack in the driveway?
No.
No. Oh, fine. Fine. Did he live to the end of the show?
Oh, yeah.
Great.
Bob just died again in the comics.
Yep.
Jonathan Kent just died again in the comics.
Somebody told me that, yeah.
So you're a trendsetter if nothing else.
A trendsetter, yeah, there's a trend to set. Sudden death. Great. Yes, miss.
Do you still keep in touch with Daisy? Character of Daisy? Do you still keep in touch with Daisy?
I talked to Daisy this morning. I did. Catherine Bach lives about maybe 10 miles from me, and we talk quite often. Her husband, Peter Lopez, is a really amazing force to reckon with in the music industry from a legal standpoint. He's got the Eagles and he's got Fleetwood Mac, and they were part of Michael Jackson's machine. So I've been talking with them about getting back into music, but they're great friends of mine, always have been. Yeah, good people. Catherine's a great gal.
Do you live here in New York or you live in California?
California.
Oh.
Yeah, I live about a mile from where we used to shoot a show called Dr. Quinn Medicine Ball. And Dukes, not very far from there. So it hasn't changed a lot. It changed from Mount Kisco, but I say it like it's right there, but it is kind of right there. So yeah, she lives there, she's lived there, I think ever since she moved from South Dakota. Cathy Bach is from a little town called Faith, South Dakota, that I think still has one flashing light. And that's it. And Wopat is from Lodi, Wisconsin, which is a dairy farming community. And I'm from Kisco, so we're all small town kind of folks, which I think you can tell on the show too. I appreciate your questions very much. Hope I answered some of them, and some you might not have had a chance to ask. I will see you downstairs, or I'll see you tomorrow. Tom Wopat is at the gym. It always happens. I'm the guy from California. I flew in from California. Here I am. He lives in New Jersey, and he's not here. What's up with that?
But Tom is still standing next to you.
So Tom will be next to me. Yeah, he's probably down there right now saying, "Where's John?" I know him pretty good. I can say that. You can tell he goes to the gym. I'll tell you what. Tom Wopat has had that six-pack all of my life, because he's a lot older than me. He's in good shape for an old fellow. Thank you folks very much.